and welcome to the Environment Matters. My name is Ladonna Kissoon, and I'll be your moderator for this day. And a happy new year to each and every one of you. Today, our topic is building human capacity at the EPA. And joining me is no other than our Administrative and Human Resources Director, Mr. Joshua Muridall. So, welcome, Joshua.
Thank you, LaDonna, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you.
I'm also honored to be on the very first episode of Environmental Matters for 2020.
And we're happy to have you. All right, so we know 2019, it can be considered a year of transformation for us at the agency and discovery. So, given the fact that you're joining us for the first episode of 2020, what would you say would be some of the major achievements that the EPA has achieved for 2019?
Often referred to as the year of discovery for the EPA, the accomplishments are many, but I would like to emphasize on one that it is considered the most prized accomplishment for 2019, and that is under the leadership of Dr. Vincent Adams, who's the agency's executive director. We were able to focus on the permit backlog for the first half of 2019. Now, this project has seen the agency recouping lost revenues. We were able to bring in revenues from expired permits, from outdated permits, and that, for me, in my opinion, is one of the greatest accomplishments for 2019. And more so, we owe this accomplishment to the dedicated officers of the EPA who focused on their respective program areas to bring this backlog down. Also, the agencies focus on a lot of training and capacity building for 2019. If I may, this is by far the highest number of international training and conferences the EPA has ever experienced. And I'm talking about over 50 international conferences. So, with the combination of the backlog of permits and the training, those for me is one of the two major accomplishments for 2019 the EPA would have had.
Oh, wow. So I must say congratulations to each staff member out there for all their hard work and dedication. So let's specifically focus on human capital. So for the past year, what would you say would be your major change in staff complement and skill set given, the embarkment of all these international conferences? So yes, what would have been your major changes?
Well, we did one of the most dynamic change, and that is recruit some of the most key personnel that the agency never had before. For 2019, the agency would have recruited 27 new employees, some of whom never existed before. There's an additional four that is expected to join us January of 2020, which is we already in January. So that is one of the major human resources change we had for 2019. And I'm speaking to positions of engineers. We've never had civil engineers before. We are getting a geological engineer. We have gotten technical advisors, technical assistants, and that is basically to build the human capital and resources of the agency. And that is from the human resources aspect of the agency.
All right. So, what are the goals for 2020 regarding staff complement? Where's the agency progressing to go?
Well, as you know, the talk is oil, and the EPA is going to play a primary role in managing that resource. And in managing that resource, key competencies must be fulfilled. And that's where key personnel will have to be recruited by the agency. In 2019, the agency published two print media for an expression of interest for specified engineers abroad. I'm talking about chemical, hydrological, mining, petroleum. And it is the vision of the EPA to ensure that the newly formed oil and gas unit is complemented with these officers that can tackle what is really coming in terms of oil.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you, at the end of 2020, we are looking to increase our staff complements in the field of science and technology, primarily engineers.
Okay. So what would you say would, just for our viewers listening, in terms of a numerical digit, in terms of gaining capacity for oil and gas sector, what are we looking at? An additional 10, 20?
The World Bank did a survey in 2019, and coming out of that survey, it is projected that an additional 36 employees alone for oil and gas is required. So
Wow.
that is just for just one sector, the oil and gas unit. Also, an estimated 20 additional officer is projected for the agency. So we are looking to really staff up and to ensure that our complements of engineers and science-oriented officer is on board to really focus on what is coming in 2020.
Wow, I'm pretty excited to have a few new faces around and have a few more colleagues added to my list. So I look forward to our new addition of staff as they come on board with us, especially with regards to our oil and gas
Mm.
sector. It's new and budding, as we all know.
Hmm.
All right, so we spoke about the new skill sets that staff would have acquired in 2019. So given these special skill sets, what are some of the areas that staff have been trained in? And I know that we've done both local and international training. So would you like to share with Guyana where we've been and some of the things that we've been doing?
EPA transformed the way it engages international training. And I say this because every staff at the agency, from all levels, not just senior management, was able to get a first-hand experience at an international conference. For example, we had an environmental officer that spent several weeks in Mexico on an actual oil rig where she was able to get first-hand experience on the operations at sea offshore on an actual rig. And that was the practical side of stuff. We had officers that traveled all across this globe in terms of petroleum training, water quality, air quality, radiation, solid waste. So, like I said, it was the year of increased travels overseas, and this capacity allowed the agency to network and see what other international agencies and organizations are doing out there so that we can come back together, make recommendations, and possibly implement some of those best practices. And that was the aim of all the trainings that we would have had for 2019. And those are just a few that I mentioned.
So I must say the agency have been going places, and I'm very happy to hear that. And I hope that for 2020 and years forward, that more capacities build and persons are afforded more opportunities to go out there and to network and to learn and be able to share their experiences with the other members of the agency and with Guyana at large, because I know one of the things that the agency does is that we share the information with the public. So once we get that information, definitely we'll put it out there.
And to add to LaDonna, Guyana, well, the EPA primarily was able to benefit from a training in eDNA. And I'm extremely proud to say that we have the only two person in Guyana that has knowledge on environmental DNA. So it is a prize achievement for the agency because training is a very big part of how we build our capacity in the agency. And to have an officer, to have several, well, to have two officers in the agency, that is the only two in the country that have been exposed to something like environmental DNA, something that is way ahead of our time, but we already preview to that. And these officers have already networked with scientists around the world. So the EPA has been doing a lot of work for 2019, especially with training capacity.
Would you like to share with Guyana some of the interest that you have for staff in terms of capacity building for 2020? I know Dr. Adams usually likes to say whenever you get out there, you have to network. Networking is very valuable and important to us. So as it is right now, are there any trainings or conferences right now that we're embarking to go on, or this is all in the planning phase?
We have a national budget that was crafted in 2019 that captures our training line at one of the most increased amount over the year. So I can tell you, once our national budget is approved, the agency will see training in all areas and primarily in oil and gas because it's a fairly relatively new sector to Guyana and we have still not been able to fully understand what exactly is coming. We're hearing oil is coming, but we're not fully ready to actually understand what is really coming. So the EPA has indeed embarked on a training plan for 2020 that will be unrailed, well, basically will unroll in a sense once we have our budget approved.
Okay, so let's look forward to that approval soon enough.
Yes.
All right, so I know that we've opened two brand new offices. Would you like to let us know what's been happening with those offices? And, the question beams now as to what was the venture for having these two additional offices over these years?
Well, as you and I both know, EPA only had one office in Ganges Street, our head office. And Dr. Adams has always emphasized on we must serve the people of Guyana. We must serve the taxpayers of this country. It has been in the pipeline for quite some time, but with Dr. Adams and his persistence to ensure that presence of the EPA is out there, we were able to open and to put into function and commission two brand new offices. The WIM in Region 6 Berbice and the Linden in Region 10 operating out of the land building in Mackenzie. Now, these two offices offer the same services as Georgetown. And I'm talking about you can make payments for your permits, you can make an application for an environmental authorization, you can make a complaint, complaints are being investigated. So basically, it's an arm of head office. So we were pretty much excited for that because it was also, I should have mentioned, it was one of our accomplishments for 2019 to have these offices rolled out and to be functioning as well.
Yes, it definitely was a great accomplishment for us at the agency. So what would you say was really the reason for having these two additional offices? Because I know, coming from working as a field officer, that having a office in regions, given the fact that we were so centralized, was really key to our execution. So how, what would have been the reason for putting these two offices in these specific regions as is right now?
Well, as you know, based on an analysis of complaints, the agency documents every complaint that comes in and requests for authorizations of permits, projects, etc. Region 6 has been one of the most trafficked area in terms of permits and developments and those type of things, as well as Region 10. So the journey from Region 10 to Region 4 to conduct business was a little bit hectic on these developers and the members of the public, as well as Linden as well. So we want to ensure that our services reach every possibly corner of this country. So we ventured into the two most populated area in sense of requests for permits and complaints and those sorts of things. So that's where we took these two offices and placed them because that's where the highest requests in terms of complaints and requests for permit comes from.
So we're definitely serving the taxpayers' dollars.
Definitely.
Because, it's really key to be of convenience for them, because I know it takes a lot of time to travel all the way from quarantine to
Correct.
come all the way to Georgetown. So it's a real good convenience for them, and I am sure that in future we'll be venturing off to hopefully some more regions. We'll get into that later on.
We will.
Yes,
We
we'll
will.
get into that later on as we go through. So with the new offices, they've been doing just the same as the head office in Ganges Street, correct?
Correct.
Right. So, the authorization process and handling of complaints. Is there anything
Investigations of
else?
complaints.
Okay, so is there anything else that, these offices outside of our main office they're equipped with?
Like I said, it is an arm of head office. It basically serves in the same capacity and the services offered at head office. For now, these offices are fairly new. Some persons may not even know that they existed, possibly until now that we're mentioning it. But in a nutshell, they're offering the same services, payments, complaints. It's just basically for convenience. Like you rightfully said, it takes a long time to journey from Region 6 to Region 4, Region 10 to Region 4. So we're basically just trying to, serve the taxpayers of this country in terms of being convenient for them.
All right. So I know the agency well. We've done some restructuring and we're presently operating on their new structure. So, would you like to share with us how this new structure is operational?
Yes, okay. In October of 2018, the EPA welcomed Dr. Vincent Adams, the newly appointed Executive Director of the EPA. Of course, his vision for the EPA took some time to really craft. In doing so, the agency underwent a restructuring. That restructuring was premised on improving efficiency and management at the agency. I'll probably go into details a bit later, but what I can tell you that the restructuring was premised on improving the efficiency of how the agency operates and to have a systematic functioning of designated program areas so that it can be more effective, more efficient, easy to manage. So that's why the agency looked at a complete overhaul of the agency with the creation of additional program areas to serve the country at large.
Okay.
Miss Sonia, wait, I want to ask you something.
Oh gosh,
Morning, Miss Sonia.
morning, Miss Cheryl. I'm late for work.
I noticed the other day y'all had a big campaign with them police officers, so shutting down them people barbecue, wedding, dance. Man, how y'all expect these people to make money and survive?
Oh, Miss Cheryl, that is far from the truth. The EPA and the Guyana Police Force are actually working together to ensure that persons who conduct certain businesses and activities are authorized. We've tried to allow them to adhere to the noise regulations.
Well, this gotta be a new law. What law is this?
These laws were always in place. It's now that we get all these complaints at the agency, we are trying to enforce them. The Environmental Protection Act has been in place since 1996, and it states that persons and businesses must apply for environmental authorization before operating a sound-making device.
Well, girl, I never know this thing is part of the law.
So if you're keeping a barbecue or an open-air function, like a wedding or a concert, especially in your community, right, and you're playing a music system, you have to apply for a short-term noise permit. And for persons that operate in a business and you got generators and stuff, you have to apply for a long-term permit. And that is applicable to bars and hotspots and clubs also.
Well, now that you explain it, I understand it. It's unfair to the elderly, sick people, and even them little children.
That is correct. According to the World Health Organization, loud noise can cause stress, sleep deprivation, and hearing impairment. And I'm sure you wouldn't want that.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you for explaining it, Miss Sonia.
For more information, you can contact the EPA at 225-5471 or visit our office at Ganges Street, North Sophia, Georgetown.
come around, please.
Morning. My name is Deborah. I just want to get some information.
Good morning. I am Odessa Duncan, Senior Environmental Officer. How may I assist you today?
Tell me something. They got this man next door by me breaking on this big building, and it's bare asbestos in the roof. I could remember hearing on your TV program that asbestos is dangerous to human health and the environment.
This is correct. The Environmental Protection Act states that any person or facility that is storing, treating, transporting, and or disposing of hazardous waste material must be authorized by the EPA to do so.
Oh, but it's now I'm really hearing about this hazardous waste thing. Tell me something more.
Hazardous waste are waste material with properties that are dangerous or capable of having a harmful effect on human health and the environment, including things like paint, fertilizers, and pesticides, waste oil, and asbestos. These things have the potential to cause cancer, birth defects, kidney failure, and reproductive impairment, with children being at the highest risk. The environmental authorization in this case gives the legal right to transport, store, and dispose of this material in accordance with the EP Act Chapter 2005 Laws of Guyana. Now, this ensures you and your operation and your process is safe for the environment and human health.
So you mean to tell me that all them leftover Christmas paint that I got on in my kitchen sink, I need authorization from EPA to get rid of it?
No, Miss Deborah. These items, once used for household purposes, does not require environmental authorization from the EPA. However, you should still take necessary steps to ensure that these materials are stored and disposed of in an environmentally safe manner.
Thank you so much for the information. I go in and tell him that he needs an environmental authorization. Thank you.
At the Environmental Protection Agency, we believe that the environment is everybody's business. We can start caring for our planet by becoming more environmentally friendly in our everyday actions. Here's what you can do. Dispose of waste in a garbage bin. Clean our drains, yards, and carpets regularly. Take a reusable shopping bag to the market. Support local butchers and farmers to reduce packaged waste. Plant a kitchen garden, trees, and flowers. Compost your organic waste. Conserve water and electricity. Carry a reusable water bottle. These little acts are good for your health and that of the environment. Remember, healthy people work better and achieve more, and together, small actions make a big difference. For further information on how you can help, please contact the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Ganges Street, Sophia, or telephone us at 225-5467. You can also visit our website, epagana.org, or our Facebook and Instagram pages.
From the gift of Iwakrama to the groundbreaking low-carbon development strategy, Guyana, the land of many waters, land of the giants, has been a leader on environmental management and biodiversity conservation in the Caribbean and on the world stage. Guyana is now embarking on a bold new path that places environment at the center of its development. Our country's Green State Development Strategy is our country's long-term development plan that seeks to reorient and diversify Guyana's economy, reducing reliance on traditional sectors and opening up new sustainable income and investment opportunities. The GSDS will provide the foundation for an inclusive green economy, which will result in improved human well-being and social equity while reducing environmental risks. In 2016, a bold move was made to ban styrofoam food containers through legislation and enforcement. We join the rest of the world in beating plastic pollution for World Environment Day and beyond.
Are you involved in a business or thinking about starting one? Do you know there may be environmental impacts from business activities? According to the Environmental Protection Act of 1996, businesses such as gas stations, rice mills, large-scale agriculture and poultry farms, large-scale mining and forestry operations, hotels, and resorts must be authorized. Persons proposing any of these activities need to submit an application for environmental authorization to the EPA.
And welcome back to the Environment Matters. Again, I'm your moderator, Ladonna Kissoon, and joining us is Mr. Joshua Muridall, and he is our Administrative and Human Resources Director. So, Joshua, we were just talking about, the new structure that the agency is operating under. Could you tell us some of our new programs that we've been functioning very effectively too, as you well put earlier, some of our new systems that have been put in place?
Yes, Adonna. As you know, the agency's vision would have been crafted to meet the needs of the people. And in doing so, the restructuring saw the creation of 5 additional program areas. These are program areas that never existed before as an entire unit. The work were being done, but not as a dedicated program area. A few to mention would be the creation of an entire legal and corporate services that handles all of our legal matters, prosecution, legal advice, those sorts of matters. You also had the creation of a technical secretariat. Now this one for me is very exciting because the technical secretariat offers advice across all the program areas. This is a unit dedicated to offering advice, recommendation, vetments, those sort of things. So the technical unit was created so that technical services can be supported throughout the entire agency. Apart from that, you had the creation of the project management. Project management was crafted to ensure that all projects undertaken by the agency is managed effectively. Timelines are met, scope of works, and all those sorts of things. You also had the gas stations, as you know. With oil coming, everybody want to put up a gas station. So we now have a dedicated gas station unit to deal with that as well. Additionally, we had the creation of a MEAS, which is the Multilateral Environmental Agreements Unit. Now, this is also exciting because this unit focuses on all the conventions, international conventions, that falls under the Guyana purview. And they manage all these international agreements and all these big projects and all these sorts of stuff for Guyana. So those were just a few of the major changes in the restructuring that we had recently. And again, it was basically aimed at improving how the agency functioned and to ensure that we effectively serve the people of the country.
Well, exciting things have been happening over there, I must say. So, with the new structure, and we've been talking about the agency gaining additional staff complement. So, the additional complement, I'm guessing, will definitely tie into our new operating structure as we go forward.
Correct. Presently, we have 110 staff on payroll. And in 2019, we hired 27 new recruits. And we are looking to ensure that we complement the entire oil and gas by the end of 2020. And to have an estimated 20 additional technical staff on board. So we will see a lot of new faces, a lot of new positions being filled at the EPA in terms of science and technology.
Okay, great. So definitely look out for all our vacancy ads when they're published, and be sure once you reach that requirement to apply. Who knows, anything is possible. You might end up working at the Environmental Protection Agency. With all these vacancy opportunities, Joshua, what is the employment opportunities that are available at the EPA, and tell us what are some of our, or the minimum requirement in terms of qualifications And if you can, let's speak to, like specific availabilities that we have right now.
Okay, Ladonna. As you know, the EPA is a semi-autonomous agency under the Ministry of the Presidency, and the agency operates within the ambit of traditional public service. You talk about a specific vacancy that we may have existing. Let's take an environmental officer post, for example. That post would require the applicant to possess a bachelor's degree in environmental science or any related field of study with a minimum of at least 2 years experience, as compared to let's say an office assistant that would basically requires 3 CXC subjects with some working experience. Now the EPA welcomes all categories of candidacy for employment at the agency. We are a very dynamic group of people there, and if I may, being the HR there, I can tell you that we have some of the most passionate and dedicated female on staff.
Thank you, thank you.
So we have the highest staff complement is made up of female. And these are hardworking, dedicated women that get up at 3, 2 o'clock in the morning and journey from region 4 all the way to region 1 and
Yes, we do.
7 and 10 and those kind of things. So the opportunity there basically is very fair, but we have a system in place that we followed the traditional public service. Of course, the application comes in, you're shortlisted, you have an interview. Once you reach that requirement, you're offered the employment. Now, presently at the agency, we have vacancy for environmental officers, we have for engineers. The problem we have presently is, like I mentioned earlier, that we would have published 2 printed media release for an expression of interest for engineers in all specialized area. Sadly, the response has been poor locally, which means that we may have to very much venture into international markets to fill these positions. I'm talking about petroleum engineers, hydrological engineers, mining engineers. These are relatively new positions that are not common in Guyana. So that's where we may have to very well venture out soon into the global market to have these positions filled and recruited. Aside from that, like I mentioned, we would have filled 27 new posts in 2019. And 2020 promises to be one that will see the oil and gas being fully complemented. So that's where our focus will be presently to get that oil and gas unit up and running.
Okay. So what would be some of the opportunities that persons can look forward to when joining the Environmental Protection Agency?
An adventurous one, Ladonna. An adventurous one. I can tell you, the officers there are passionate about their work. They don't complain. They do it with passion and with dedication. It's always an adventure at EPA. You get to travel, you get to see all parts of this beautiful country. You network, you build capacity. The salaries are attractive, the benefits are also there. You know, we have the medical schemes and we have our dedicated officers there to ensure that we make your stay at the EPA a very rewarding one. But for me, I would use one word in describing how it is at EPA, and it's just fulfilling. You know, and it's come on board. Come on board, join us at the EPA. It's really nice to be there. It's one of the greatest places I've ever worked at. I can tell you this much.
Yes, working at the Environmental Protection Agency is an adventurous one. It definitely allows you to do a lot of traveling and be able to network and, meet a lot of different people and be able to appreciate the culture that we have and celebrate it, with our brothers and sisters out there.
And it gives you a feeling of great appreciation because you are the guardian of the environment. You are the ambassador of the earth.
Yes.
And it makes you feel a sense of fulfillment just being a part of the agency.
Yeah.
So I can personally tell you this, that the EPA is the only one of its kind in the country. And it is the place to be. with the new booming industry of oil.
Yes.
So it is a really awesome place, and you network, you build capacity. I can tell you this much. Persons will look at you and say, "Oh, you work at the EPA. Let's match your salary. We want you." Because you have the skill set that no other person in the country has. You're the guardian of the environment.
Yes, I know a lot of times we go there and we're very respected based on the imprint of our shirts or our t-shirts, and persons are always honest about questions and where we are and what exactly it is that we're doing. So I know we're an interesting bunch of people. Yes, we
Definitely.
are.
And like I said before, it is predominantly made up of female who are passionate about the work that they do.
Yes, girl power.
Yes.
Nevertheless, you know um it can be a challenge, I know, from time to time. But, as women, we're very dedicated. Speaking on behalf of the other females there, we're very dedicated to our work. And like you rightfully said, we have that passion and drive because we love what we do and we love being there. So, yes, hats off to management.
Yeah, and like I said, it's endearing to see these women out there with their helmets and their vests and their safety boots, and they're out there, and they're
In all those
front and
canoes and
center
boats.
at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what lies ahead at the EPA if you want to join us.
Yes, definitely. So, like you rightfully said, it's an adventure. And if you like adventure, definitely you'll enjoy
The EPA is a
your
place to
work
be.
there. Yes, that's so true. So, as our human resource director, what would you say is your vision for the development of the Environmental Protection Agency?
Well, as you know, Ladonna, human capital is the backbone of any organization. It is the link between the various program areas to ensure that all the resources are met. Human resources is often overlooked, but for us, no. It's one of our most prized assets. It's how we function. HR is tasked with filling these specific areas of expertise. So our plans and vision for 2020 is to ensure that these key competencies are filled. Being the HR director of the EPA, I can tell you that we have placed emphasis on capacity building. I cannot emphasize enough at how surprised I am at the amount of training we would have done in 2019. Even more so that it was not just limited to senior management. Everybody had an opportunity for that exposure, for that network, for that capacity building. And they bring it back to the agency. And we can see how that training would have impacted that officer. The officer comes back more informed. They're, they come back rejuvenated. Their ideas are fresh. They came back with a new, how we can improve the way we do things. So I can tell you this. HR will emphasize on training and capacity building for staff. We believe if our staff are motivated, if they are well informed, they will perform optimally. And that's all that we want. We want happy employees. Happy employees equal efficiency. It equals to hard work and dedication. Like I rightfully said, we have a team of 110 current staff who get up each day at the break of dawn and work until the end of until dusk, like you rightly said. And they do it over and over because their concern has always been the preservation, protection of the environment. And we believe that we should focus on our staff and human resources capital at the agency. And my primary focus and vision is ensure that training and capacity is carried out in a manner that is consistent with performance.
Well, definitely. So, indeed, we have a lot to look forward to. So, what more should we look forward to from the agency for 2020, Joshua?
Well, that is a lot to say, given the very limited time we have remained on the show.
Well,
But I know that Guyana can expect improved efficiency in the time it takes to process an application for an authorization permit. They can also see the creation of a dedicated complaint hotline and a complaint department that will be dedicatedly focused on how we manage complaints. And that will see complaints being actioned sooner, resolutions, even legal matters being processed in a timely manner. There are so many exciting things ahead for the agency. I can tell you this. But in a nutshell, we will grow and we will tackle this industry head on with the support of our sister agencies.
definitely growth is a must, and I'm sure Guyana and all our fellow colleagues at the agency is definitely looking forward to the growth and development of the agency as we go forward. And with all the opportunities that arises, I encourage everybody out there, once you see yourself, fitting in with us, definitely look out for all vacancies and opportunities that will be presented to you. So, as we close off our program today, Joshua, do you have any other thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
LaDonna, I should have mentioned, you talked about what we have in plans for human resources. I should mention that the executive director, Dr. Vincent Adams, with the board of directors, would have crafted what is called the study leave policy. This is a big incentive and motivation for staff because this policy will see the agency allowing staffers to go and study. And if qualified, that study will be fully funded by the agency. For example, let's just say we have an officer that wishes to pursue a master's degree in water engineering or water pollution. That skill set will complement the work of the agency. That policy now will allow that officer to go abroad and study and still maintain their job when they return, and that study will be fully funded. So that in itself is one of the ways that the Human Resources Department is looking to ensure that staff welfare and staff um, is encouraged to continue working with the agency, and it's going to build capacity for the agency and for that officer as well.
Wow, I must say that is definitely something to look forward to as, a young person. And I know a lot of our staff complement is indeed young people. And, as a young person, we're always, or even, the older ones that are there, persons are always looking to further develop their skill set and qualification. So that is definitely a compliment on our end.
It is. It's one of the focus of 2019, and moving forward in 2020, it's going to be implemented, and the agency will see an increase in capacity for all staff. And I can tell you this, we have a bunch of smart and educated officers there, most of whom have always been able to move ahead and to move forward and to build that. And with the policy now being implemented, it will allow staff to utilize that experience and that opportunity without having to leave the agency or to worry about, I have to resign and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So that is one of another major accomplishment of 2019 for the agency.
Definitely, definitely. So, is there anything that you, in your capacity, would like to tell us?
Well, the administrative division is charged with ensuring that all the resources are made readily available to ensure the function of the EPA is carried out in a manner that is consistent with its mandate. I am extremely happy to have on board dedicated personnel to deal with our inventory and procurement, and to have persons being able to, get the services of the department more accessible. And I believe that the agency is growing in such a way that it will see improved services and that we can expect so much great things from the EPA. And I would like to say that changes will come and we welcome those changes. And 2019, we discovered so many things and we unlocked so many potentials. We have a plan in our head, we have a plan, we have a vision, and it is my hope that that plan and vision will be executed and that people can see great things coming from the EPA pretty soon.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Joshua, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our first 2020 shows has started with a bang, and we'd like to again say a Happy New Year to all our listeners, and thank you so much for being with us throughout 2019, and we look forward to spending our 2020 with you. This has been The Environment Matters. Thank you for watching.
Miss Sonia, wait, I want to ask you something.
Oh gosh,
Morning, Miss Sonia.
Morning, Miss Cheryl. I'm late for work.
I noticed the other day y'all had a big campaign with them police officers, so shutting down them people barbecue, wedding, dance. Man, how y'all expect these people to make money and survive?
Oh, Miss Cheryl, that is far from the truth. The EPA and the Guyana Police Force are actually working together to ensure that persons who conduct certain businesses and activities are authorized. We've tried to allow them to adhere to the noise regulations.
Well, this gotta be a new law. What law is this?
These laws were always in place. It's now that we're getting all these complaints at the agency, we are trying to enforce them. The Environmental Protection Act has been in place since 1996, and it states that persons and businesses must apply for environmental authorization before operating a sound-making device.
Well, girl, I never know this thing is part of the law.
So if you're keeping a barbecue or an open-air function, like a wedding or a concert, especially in your community, right, and you're playing a music system, you have to apply for a short-term noise permit. And for persons that operate in a business and you got generators and stuff, you have to apply for a long-term permit. And that is applicable to bars and hotspots and clubs also.
Well, now that you explain it, I understand it. It's unfair to the elderly, sick people, and even them little children.
That is correct. According to the World Health Organization, loud noise can cause stress, sleep deprivation, and hearing impairment. And I'm sure you wouldn't want that.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you for explaining it, Miss Sonia.
For more information, you can contact the EPA at 225-5471 or visit our office at Ganji Street, North Sophia, Georgetown.
Come around, please.
Morning. My name is Deborah. I just want to get some information.
Good morning. I am Odessa Duncan, Senior Environmental Officer. How may I assist you today?
Tell me something. They got this man next door by me breaking on this big building, and it's bare asbestos in the roof. I could remember hearing on your TV program that asbestos is dangerous to human health and the environment.
This is correct. The Environmental Protection Act states that any person or facility that is storing, treating, transporting, and or disposing of hazardous waste material must be authorized by the EPA to do so.
Oh, but it's now I'm really hearing about this hazardous waste thing. Tell me something more.
Hazardous waste are waste material with properties that are dangerous or capable of having a harmful effect on human health and the environment, including things like paint, fertilizers, and pesticides, waste oil, and asbestos. These things have the potential to cause cancer, birth defects, kidney failure, and reproductive impairment, with children being at the highest risk. The environmental authorization in this case gives the legal right to transport, store, and dispose of this material in accordance with the EP Act Chapter 2005 Laws of Guyana. Now, this ensures you and your operation and your process is safe for the environment and human health.
So you mean to tell me that all them leftover Christmas paint that I got on in my kitchen sink, I need authorization from EPA to get rid of it?
No, Miss Deborah. These items, once used for household purposes, does not require environmental authorization from the EPA. However, you should still take necessary steps to ensure that these materials are stored and disposed of in an environmentally safe manner.
Thank you so much for the information. I go in and tell he that he needs an environmental authorization. Thank you.
At the Environmental Protection Agency, we believe that the environment is everybody's business. We can start caring for our planet by becoming more environmentally friendly in our everyday actions. Here's what you can do. Dispose of waste in a garbage bin. Clean our drains, yards, and carpets regularly. Take a reusable shopping bag to the market. Support local butchers and farmers to reduce packaged waste. Plant a kitchen garden, trees, and flowers. Compost your organic waste. Conserve water and electricity. Carry a reusable water bottle. These little acts are good for your health and that of the environment. Remember, healthy people work better and achieve more, and together, small actions make a big difference. For further information on how you can help, please contact the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Ganges Street, Sophia, or telephone us at 225-5467. You can also visit our website, epagana.org, or our Facebook and Instagram pages.
From the gift of Iwakrama to the groundbreaking low-carbon development strategy, Guyana, the land of many waters, land of the giants, has been a leader on environmental management and biodiversity conservation in the Caribbean and on the world stage. Guyana is now embarking on a bold new path that places environment at the center of its development. Our country's Green State Development Strategy is our country's long-term development plan that seeks to reorient and diversify Guyana's economy, reducing reliance on traditional sectors and opening up new sustainable income and investment opportunities. The GSDS will provide the foundation for an inclusive green economy, which will result in improved human well-being and social equity while reducing environmental risks. In 2016, a bold move was made to ban styrofoam food containers through legislation and enforcement. We join the rest of the world in beating plastic pollution for World Environment Day and beyond.
Are you involved in a business or thinking about starting one? Do you know there may be environmental impacts from business activities? According to the Environmental Protection Act of 1996, businesses such as gas stations, rice mills, large-scale agriculture and poultry farms, large-scale mining and forestry operations, hotels and resorts must be authorized. Persons proposing any of these activities need to submit an application for environmental authorization to the EPA.